That looked like a fair fight there. This footage was captured when a firefighter assaulted this 84-year-old woman. She must have been doing something really devastating. What she was doing was feeding some feral cats out on the other side of that gate. So apparently he had to come out and show her who's boss. So it started with him leg sweeping her to the ground. Then I guess I'm not sure further than that if he needed to go ahead and finish her off, but this is the details of what all went down. Maureen Vilhelm was described by her family as a kind woman who, in her 84 years, raised a family of four largely on her own. The firemen of Station Number 1, her children say, have described her as, quote, that crazy cat lady. I guess maybe threatening as well. Her children say that her mother has always shown concern for animals, and so it's a little surprise that she was feeding the homeless cats in her neighborhood, buying the food herself from her limited resources. Also, again, according to her family, the cats have been previously captured, neutered, and released under a county feral community cat program and ordinance. But the family says some of the firemen have objected to their presence and her feeding them. And then all of that escalated on December 8th with this. And that security camera footage shows Miss Velgholm, I hope I'm saying correctly, setting out food and water for the cats as a fireman identified as Timothy Egan arrives at that back gate. And a little bit after that, he returns, and that's when that confrontation then happened. The assault left her with a traumatic brain injury, but you guys won't be surprised by this. This 84-year-old woman, again feeding cats, was then charged with assault. The police report also contains this final puzzling detail. 84-year-old, 95-pound Maureen Velgum was initially charged with misdemeanor assault on a protected person. Timothy Egan. It was also discussed among Sparks police, and it was decided to issue a citation at the scene rather than take her to jail. Then that charge was later dropped because, of course, it has. So the family is now filing a lawsuit, Benny, because she's feeding feral cats outside of this firehouse. I'm not sure if he went out to, he was taking the garbage out and he saw some woman out there and he got afraid, threatened for his life, whatever it is that people may toss around the reasons why they're aggressive towards folks. But again, this is about feeding cats, bro. And that's something that's not up my alley, which would make me give even less of a hot damn about her doing.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'll say is I'm not surprised about hearing somebody hating animals who is in a position of power, abusing their position of power. I'm just going to be real. Hating animals is a big red flag right out of the gate. Animals are just little helpless creatures, especially little cats, right? They're not going to hurt anybody. And they're feral cats. So, if you're the firefighter and there's feral cats hanging around, what are you going to do? Evict the cats? I guess if you really wanted to, you could try and pay a shelter to take them in or something. And it sounds like the county already had some sort of program to at least get the cats spayed, neutered and stuff. So where exactly is the problem? She's just feeding cats. This is somebody doing a sweet, kind, innocent thing. And you're a person in a position of power and you seek to abuse that power and literally leave somebody with a traumatic brain injury. I mean, seriously, this just speaks to the deep amount of shamelessness, that is to say, that a lot of people in positions of power have. Unfortunately, there's just this, I think, massive norm that exists where people feel like they're above any type of scrutiny or consequence. And in this instance, it's a little bit weird because it's a firefighter. Usually firefighters are not quite of that mentality, at least in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But this is definitely something that we've seen from police officers. And it's just so weird to see people so threatened by people doing very innocent things. And it's actually I guess I'll speculate a little bit, but it's this popular right-wing mentality, regardless as to whether or not the individual firefighter is a right-winger specifically, but it is a right-wing mentality to sort of lash out negatively and actively punish efforts towards kindness. It is something that is very common within the political right because they have this weird belief in the natural evilness of humans, which justifies their selfishness as political right-wingers. And so fundamentally they want to punish any good deed they see because they see it as an affront to their own humanity. Because if you're well, I hate cats and this person's taking care of those cats and I want to believe that I'm a good person even though I'm really not, let me do something to punish that person's good behavior in order to hopefully stop them from doing that. And this is, I guess, a little bit speculation into the mind of the person doing this, but fundamentally I think that's a pattern that we see.
Well, you mentioned police officers usually doing things like this. That's quickly reminded me of this. Let's go to this next video. You guys remember this back in Alabama from December of last year? Maybe this would be expected by folks to do, but then who knows? This is a repeat. Let's watch this again.
What question? What are you doing?
Trying to trap some cats.
Okay. All right. We got a call that somebody was out here feeding the cats and stuff like that. So.
I'm trying to trap them.
Okay. You have your driver's license with you, man?
Y'all have 3 cop cars because I'm feeding cats.
No, we always do this. It's
That's
fine.
unbelievable.
Yeah, and the city does not want anybody feeding the animals around here because they're becoming a nuisance.
Get out. I'm tired. Get out. Get out.
Help them. Until you started acting like that.
I'm sorry, I can't get in.
Easy.
Feeding cats and trapping them apparently was a problem for Beverly Roberts, who was 85, and Mary Alston was 60, arrested down there in Montgomery, Alabama, feeding cats.